See, we already got a Jets player hurt. Yeah, football season's already going. Are you ready?
Yeah, man, I can't wait for this season. It's gonna be a lot of good storylines coming.
First couple little house cleaning notes. Shemar Stewart. I know a little bit about it. I know he's holding out for the Bengals, which I mean, it's Tuesday, it's cold in December. Things we can expect. Bengals contract issues. That is cold in December. You know what I mean? That Democrats are going to hate Republicans. Like those are things we know to hold to be truth and self evident. But what are you hearing? What is something that we're missing that you maybe have an inside track on?
Well, for anybody who doesn't know, Shemar Stewart still hasn't signed he's a first round pick that still hasn't signed his contract, so he's holding out. And you think like, okay, this is not the old time where you had guys that were holding out for more money or whatever, because everything's slotted now. So it's not about anything. It's about guarantees, and specifically about guarantees about conduct. He wants his contract, or at least his agent says he wants his contract guaranteed no matter what if he's in trouble. Well, the Bengals are really holding out, saying, you know what? No, we don't want this. And it's weird because of all things, it's like it's making me wonder, like, is there something in Stewart we haven't heard yet that's going on? What's happening? Because it's boilerplate stuff. It's like
That's funny.
copy paste. The language. It's like, why is this guy like really fighting for a guaranteed money to do it?
That's funny.
And so I look at it, I think both sides are at fault. And he's like, both sides, we can't do this. Right. This is one instance where both sides are wrong. I look at Stewart and going, do you not feel confident enough that you can stay out of trouble? Or do you have something that we don't know that you feel the need of, I need to be paid right now? Wait, what again, no matter what happens? Wait, what? And then I look at the Bengals going, okay, your scouting staff, your front office poured all these resources in to look about the guy. You know what this guy is, you know the character and everything else. If you had questions about that, why'd you take him? So I'm looking at both sides. This is just to me in the past, right? This is probably the stupidest holdout I've seen because it's like it makes no sense. For both parties to go, well, I'm not paying you this one. It should have been resolved beforehand. And if you had questions about the guy, didn't think he was a fit, you either trade down and trade up. You just don't take him. So
Okay.
the Bengals are pulling
That's
the Bengals. Their front office, the Bengals are being the Bengals. And then we talk about how a lever doesn't change the spots. Well, this Bengals not changing the stripes. It's doing the same thing that it's always doing. Is shooting themselves in the foot.
all right. Let's hold on. Let's stop at that light right there because I completely disagree with you. Now, we saw this in the NBA draft. Ace Bailey decided he didn't want to work out for the Sixers and some other teams, but specifically the Sixers because he didn't want to go to Philadelphia. People get their panties in a bunch. They get all riled up. They get their nipples all twirled up because players exercise their right to make a decision, to say, I don't want to do this. And then you have a right to react to that. Shemar Stewart probably didn't want to go to Cincinnati. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that wasn't the organization he wanted to go to. So there were some nuances there that we as fans may not think about, but as a multi-million-dollar athlete with a short earnings window, that's something you want to consider. Now, for the Bengals, I'm going to defend the Bengals here. We take the best player available. We figure contractually we'll protect ourselves in case that player turns out to be loco. Well, you're going to get some players that'll say, you know what? I got my degree. I got a master's degree. I can go work for a year, or I just won't play professional football if you're not going to let me go. So I'm willing to hold out. And you have some agents who will try to set precedent. I believe, in my opinion, two people can be right at the same time. The Bengals are right for taking the best player available and for trying to protect themselves contractually. And Stewart is right for saying, screw you, and the horse you rode in on. If something happens that's out of my control, I don't want you to come in and say you can't get paid. Because now I'm at a loss because A, I'm not able to play because Roger Goodell could suspend him for, just for being in the wrong place, wrong time. And then I have no money and also I'll have no money to get the top legal representatives that I need in a state and in a city that is known to have hyperactive police activity. I'm not going to say the police activity goes one way or the other, but we do know that they have very active police activity. So in this situation, I think both player and team are right, and they're doing the right thing. The only issue I have, and it's something that I feel like should be collectively bargained. It'll never happen. It will never happen. It's called a right of first refusal. A player has a right to refuse to go to a team. So if you're drafted and let's say you're drafted. If you're in the NBA, you're drafted by Daryl Morey. Nah, I'm good. I don't. So then you can get redrafted. You can let a team know beforehand, if you draft me, I am going to refuse to go here, and that team will then subsequently lose their pick. So if you're picking third in the draft and you take a player that doesn't want to go there, if you're in the NFL and you take Eli Manning, you're in San Diego Chargers, you take Eli Manning, you can't turn around and say we're going to trade you. No, 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 Holmes, no, 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 no. The knife don't cut that way. I told you I didn't want to go there. I'm exercising my right of first refusal. But with that being said, then the player goes to the next team. So if the San Diego Chargers don't tickle your fancy, they ain't your cup of tea. Well, how about them Indianapolis Colts? So it's like you're picking the lesser of two evils. But I believe that would discourage a lot of teams from forcing guys. That would discourage the Utah Jazz from forcing a player to have to go there, because the players should have some sort of opportunity to maximize their growth. The Bengals, and chime if I'm wrong here, have never won anything other than maybe two AFC championships. Never won a Super Bowl. They never won back-to-back AFC championships. I think they would qualify as a bad, poorly run franchise. Just, I think if you had poorly run franchise, they'd be in the picture. If I'm a player, I don't want to go there. I don't want to do that. I ain't trying to be Jackie Robinson out this mofo. I just want to play ball. So I actually agree with Stewart in this. And like I said, right from first refusal is something I've been sitting on, because I feel like the draft has run its course. There needs to be changes.
It's a good idea in theory and everything else. I'm just
In
worried about
theory.
if that's the case. In theory, it's good because then you worry about the backlog of, okay, well, they keep refusing. They wind up all of a sudden get the 32nd team. All of a sudden is the one that gets picked. He lands on it, and he's just making it richer. But then also I go back to Stewart, and you're an adult now. There comes a sense of personal responsibility at some point where you need to believe that, you know what, hey, this person or this crew, and I know it's tough because you grow up some people and people stick around and bad things happen, but you should be well enough and you should know you have so much money enough and invest enough to know, hey, these people are not good for me. I don't want to jeopardize my investment in myself. I need to stay away from this. So if that's the case, and you should be, you're that. You could be in your early 20s, but you should know the difference between right and wrong at that point. And if you know the difference between right and wrong at that point, which you should know by then, you should be able to just go, you know what? I'm staying away from this. I shouldn't need to try to have a back end where, oh, if I get in trouble, I'm guaranteed my money. No, there's an injury guarantee. I get that. I understand. If there's something out of you're working, doing that work, you got your knee blew out, you got a bad short, what have you. I understand that. Guarantee that money. I have no problem with that. When it comes to personal conduct, we always hear you're representing the shield. That shield follows you everywhere, no matter what. The league gives you resources, team gives you resources. You gotta abide by it, and you can't have the backup of, oh, I messed up, and I know in Kentucky, we all know Kentucky, we all know Cincinnati, what have you, all that stuff, not the best. But if that's the case, hey, drive me here. I didn't do nothing. Leave me out here. I didn't do it. There's
So
ways you have to have some personal accountability.
you're the way you would resolve it is to, be an adult and take responsibility for your actions. That's perfect. That's a great answer. Problem is he's in his 20s. Problem is he's in his 20s. In my 20s, I could fly. I don't know about you, but I could fly, and I was bulletproof in my 20s. In my 20s, I could get that credit card and just cut it up and never use it so it could fix my credit. Or in my 20s, I made bad decisions, took the credit card, screwed my credit, and now I had to pay it off. Like, the point I'm trying to make is, when you're in your 20s, it sounds good. What Snoop say, it sounds good, nephew, but it don't go that way. We never go that way. And if you're in a city that you don't want to be in, with an organization you don't want to be in, you want to protect yourself. And if you're a team, you want to take the best player available. And just one more thing on a right of first refusal. You said the rich can get richer. Yeah, but why do the rich get richer? Because they have good talent evaluators, because they have good player development, because they're good run organizations. Every year, the Jets are in the top of the draft. So if every year players are saying no to you, eventually you gonna get it together. Eventually you will say, you know what? I'm tired of not getting asked to the dance. I'm tired of not getting picked. I'm tired of being hungry all the time. We need to make changes. They try, they're active. They just don't have achievement in their activity. I actually think it's not a bad idea for Stewart to do this, because somebody's got to stand up to these teams. And he's not going to work for him. He'll probably get Colin Kaepernick. But, maybe it shines light on at this point, the draft is outdated. God players have to be able to have some say in where they go and not just the white quarterback.